In this present crisis, government is not the solution to our problem. Government is the problem.
Do you want the whole truth?
I don't think you're ready.
Governments don't control things. A government can't control the economy without controlling people.
It's Crane Durham's Nothing But Truth.
Well, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. We're glad you're here, right here on the AFR Talk Network. I'm Crane Durham. This is Crane Durham's Nothing But Truth, and let's just jump right in. Big show, bottom of the hour. Ryan Morrow's talking Syria. On the flip side of the break, Tim Todd, Truth for Youth Week. That's right, we're putting Bibles into the hands of students, getting them into the public schools. We'll tell you how we're working with Revival Fires Ministries to do just that. But first, let's go and hit the speech. Well, one of the speeches given today. President Obama, in the report you just heard, anchored by Chad Groening, bravo, by the way, American Family News, top of every hour, onenewsnow.com, spoke to some themes. One was economic justice. Remember, there is always an agenda going on here. So today, Soledad O'Brien brought up a guest speaker who was Charles Steele, the former national president of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. And he was there to talk about voting rights. But as Mr. Steele went ahead with his speech and referencing the speech 50 years ago that his mother said, watch this speech, and he tuned in, he discovered something coming from Martin Luther King in the I Have a Dream speech, and that was his focus on economic justice. Roll it.
And I realized that Dr. King advocated for poor people. And if Dr. King was here today, I want to ask him the question, if he was satisfied with the representation of poor people and poor folks being represented. And I came to the conclusion that he would be very upset and very disturbed. He would say that, Charles, we don't have anybody lobbying for poor folks. And it is because of the lack of people who are concerned about the least of these. People are suffering and they are hurting. He would say that we must still hit the streets. We must still demonstrate. It was the SCLC, the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, that God gave us as a vehicle to free us.
He is speaking to the Poor People's Campaign and Resurrection City, the original Occupy Wall Street. I'll get to that in a second, as he encourages Americans and attendees to march for economic justice. Roll it.
Now we must go back to ground zero. We must continue to march. We must continue to pray, because through that experience, African Americans and fair-minded thinking folks of all ethnicity and background, the whole world is saying, teach us, my brothers and sisters, teach us how to get free. Well, I must say, freedom ain't free, because we still must fight for freedom. Are you ready to march? Are you ready to go? Are you ready to demonstrate? We must hit back to the streets and liberate and free all God's children, because God is love, and love is what love does. We must free the people. Thank you so much.
The Poor People's Campaign was organized in 1968, and yes, it was by Martin Luther King Jr. and the Southern Leadership Conference. After King's untimely assassination, the campaign was carried out, and it included a march on Washington where 3,000 people put up tents at a tent city and stayed for 6 weeks. They had a list of demands. One was an economic bill of rights that included a $30 billion, remember it was 1968, aid package, and assurances as well when it came to outcomes, which included a commitment to full employment, a guaranteed annual income measure, and more low-income housing. Now, this campaign obviously did not really take off, but this is a theme of President Obama. And interestingly enough, some have characterized this as, what is this man talking about? Well, it is clear. This is economic justice. This is where we're going. Let's see how economic justice has fared for the people that King desired to be equal under law, which we have achieved, by the way. That a little later. Under President Obama's policies, though, 10.9%. That's the decline in median income, median family income, 10.9%. The poverty rate for blacks is 25.8%. And for black male high school dropouts, a staggering 95%. What happened under Ronald Reagan? Okay, conservative policies, free market policies. Well, we have median household income increased 84%, compared with 68% for whites, by the way. The poverty rate dropped during the 1980s from 14% down to 11.6%, and the black unemployment rate dropped by 9 percentage points. The number of black-owned businesses increased by 38%. Mona Sharon has done a wonderful piece on this about 6 days ago, highlighting these stats. Bottom line, economic justice, the theme. So where does that leave us? Well, it leaves us with carrying out the theme, okay? Remember, part of this is going to be economic justice, and another part of this is any opposition to President Obama is racism. If you disagree with his policies, it's racist. Crane Durham's Nothing But Truth, proudly on AFR Talk. Now, we go to Ed Schultz, MSNBC. They are trying to, Ed Schultz referencing a situation at a restaurant where a black family was allegedly treated unfairly, has said this is emblematic of the entire United States and specifically Rand Paul's America, equating it to separation. But he starts out highlighting the undercurrent of hostility. Roll it.
There's an undercurrent of anger out there, that there is this conservative separatist movement that is taking grip in America to separate. We're not as equal as we think we are. Some Republicans think it's their God-given right to discriminate, and their dangerously thinking is starting to spread across America, and it's moving America backwards.
I want to thank newsbusters.org for that. Then he takes it up a notch and speaks about a separatist movement. I'll fill in the blanks, and there are a lot of them, on the flip side. Roll it.
61-year-old Craig Paul Cobb wants to set up a racist utopia. Cobb has been called one of the most extreme white supremacists and neo-Nazis in the country. So what's the guy doing? He's buying a bunch of real estate in the area, and he wants people to move in. And he plans to fill the town with other racists that basically want to take over the community. It's the conservative separatist movement in America.
Conservatives are not into neo-Nazism, okay? A couple things there. We don't want to recognize race under law. We want race-neutral policies. And we really don't believe in hate crimes going inside the mind of somebody. A crime is a crime, and it should be treated equally under law. By the way, Nidal Hasan got exactly what he deserved, and that will be carried out. Bottom line, not vengeance, but a price for the action, a life for life, referencing that point. When we are hearing a whole host of comments regarded to economic justice and the approach of the Obama administration, as well as those in the media, to equate opposition to Obamacare or other policies as racism, it goes down the road to silence those who disagree. But make no mistake, there is an agenda here, an economic justice and an economic Bill of Rights. They've done it before, and they, being the left, they're going to try it again. It's outcome-based. Interesting. Martin Luther King's speech, I have a dream, equality under law judged on the content of your character, not the color of your skin. Yet, we have equality under law, but not equal outcomes. That is largely due to behavior. That all said, it seems the movement has been hijacked. Crane Durham's Nothing But Truth. On the flip side, Tim Todd getting a Bible into the public schools. We're going to tell you how to do it next. AFR Talk.